Here we have the three latest and greatest action cameras from Insta360, DJI and GoPro. They're all very good in their own way, but today we're going to take a look at why you might be interested in buying the 360 system over and above a traditional action camera. Let's get into it now.
In this video we're going to address two main themes. First of all, the impossible shots that 360 cameras can create thanks to that ability to reframe the footage in post, get rid of the selfie stick, all that cool stuff. You can get these incredible shots that regular action cameras cannot do. Typically this functionality comes at the expense of picture quality, so we're going to take a really deep dive analysis to see what we're sacrificing to get access to this amazing reframing ability. The other theme we need to address here is the Insta360 X3 brings with it a 4K single lens shooting mode that puts it in direct competition with regular action cameras. This mode offers in-camera electronic image stabilization, produces a 4K file, so the question we need to ask is this a direct competitor for your regular action camera? We're going to put this head to head with the Action 3 as well.
Quick recap on this X3. It has two lenses here filming a 360 sphere of video. Now if you want to watch that in a traditional format, you reframe it, and this is the beauty of the 360 system that cannot be replicated by any other camera. The practical implication of all of that on the day of shooting is you can point this camera anywhere you want and it films everything. Pick your angle after the event. As you'll see in a second, we even get rid of this selfie stick. It doesn't appear in the shot. Now by comparison with the DJI Action 3, for example, we do have to give some consideration to how we frame our shots. It's a traditional camera after all.
As indicated in the intro, by the time we reframe our 5.7K 360 degree footage into a more traditional 16:9 aspect ratio, we lose a little bit of picture quality. The less we crop in, the better, so if we start with the X3's reframed default field of view, we can see here that things look pretty good actually. Now, it turns out this is actually quite a fish-eyed image, it's just you can't really tell from that initial shot, so normally what we would have to do is crop in a little bit to the natural field of view, and this straightens the lines out. More cropping and distortion correction results in a poorer quality image, however, so let's compare with the X3's 4K single lens mode for sharpness. On the left hand side we have the reframed 360 footage, natural field of view, and we're looking at the center of the image here. The sharpness is pretty good actually. If you compare it with the 4K single lens, then yes, we get a sharper image with the traditional action camera mode, shall we say, on the X3, but it would appear that the reframed 360 footage is certainly meeting an acceptable standard. If we look at the edge of the reframed 360 footage, we can see the image is starting to fall apart a little bit when compared with using the X3 in its single lens mode. At the edge of the frame, the lower resolution is combined with even more distortion correction, and it does break down the image a bit. In fact, let's compare the X3's reframed 360 video in default field of view with the DJI Action 3's ultra-wide field of view. As you can see here, they give comparable results in terms of field of view. If we look at the center of the image, we can see that the dedicated 4K image from the Action 3 on the right hand side is far superior to the reframed 360 footage on the left from the X3. Interestingly, however, on that ultra-wide field of view, the DJI Action 3 is also quite soft at the edge of the frame. First conclusion is in 2022, with 5.7K resolution on these 360 cameras, you cannot have your cake and eat it. If you want that fantastic reframing capability, you need to accept a slight erosion in picture quality. What I would say, however, looking again at these 360 reframed images, however, is the picture quality in good light meets an acceptable standard for the vast majority of users, certainly the target market for these cameras. Let's press that lower right hand button and switch into single lens mode. There you can see the inside single lens, so the lens facing me. Press it again and we flip to the outer lens. The question we all want to know is, does this compare favourably with a dedicated action camera? We can switch the fields of view here between action, ultra, wide and linear. Let's compare that single lens picture quality with that of the DJI Action 3. Looking at the center of the image, it's hard to tell the difference, to be honest with you. They both look pretty good given that we're zoomed in 4 times after all. Same can be said if we look at the edge of the image. Both are producing pretty clean, noise-free results. For maximum picture quality, I would suggest you pick the ultra wide or the wide field of view on the X3. It's the wide field of view we're now going to use to compare the stabilization with the DJI Action 3.
Right, so I've got them both on 4K 25, rock steady on the Action 3, in-camera stabilization on the Insta360. This is really heavy, so let's do a walking test.
What can I say? The in-camera stabilization on the X3 is really good. Let's take the cameras for a run, and again, it's pretty hard to tell the difference. An incredible result from both cameras. The Insta360 is a genuine hybrid camera with a 360 shooting mode that gives you reframing possibilities at the expense of a little bit of picture quality, or prepare to forgo those reframing opportunities in post and use the camera like a traditional camera, and you get a good quality 4K image with very good electronic image stabilization. Let's be clear, the DJI Action 3 and the GoPro Hero 11 still have significant advantages in terms of slow motion frame rates at the 4K or 5.3K in the case of GoPro. And those exposed lenses on the Insta360 X3 are not ideal for certain action applications compared with the replaceable lens elements that you will get on a GoPro or DJI action camera. Nonetheless, for single lens additional functionality on the Insta360 X3, the results are impressive. There have been some really interesting developments with the Action 3 and the GoPro Hero 11. We now have a horizon lock, so the roll axis is locked in if you want it to be, at the expense of a little bit of resolution and field of view. It's a really great development, really interesting to see. It doesn't change the fact, however, that you do need to get your tilt axis and your pan axis locked off correctly at the time of shooting. Here's the X3's version of events. We get the roll axis stabilization all the way around. Pretty cool. We also get the rotation, the pan axis stabilization, and the tilt. Now the practical application of that is we can just stick this camera anywhere on the day of shooting. It films everything, deal with it after. So that could be a fence. Stick it in the fence, film yourself playing paddle, for example, in the car seat for an in-car shot. It doesn't matter. The Insta360 X3 certainly excels in terms of shooting modes and shooting variety. We have active HDR video in here, does a very nice job in high contrast situations. HDR photos, of course, now we have a version of that in the GoPro. We don't actually have that in the Action 3. We have Me mode, which is actually quite a good practical way for the quick and dirty vlogger types who just want to put the camera on, and the reframing of the subject is already done in the camera. Now, I know a lot of these modes are, I don't know if gimmick is the right word, but they're fun, shall we say, but we are dealing with relatively inexpensive consumer level cameras, so it's certainly a value that the Insta360 X3 brings to the table that we don't necessarily get with our traditional action cameras. Another unique trick the Insta360 X3 has up its sleeve is the invisible selfie stick. Now, you've seen that before. It's not just for vloggers, however. I know we're not all vloggers walking around with our selfie sticks. When I was up north there in Scotland, I saw lots of people on their motorbikes with these attached to their backs, getting some really cool third-person view shots of themselves doing their motorcycle adventures in the Scottish Highlands. Big tick for the 360 system. Interestingly, DJI have announced there's going to be some kind of cloud-based software trickery where they're going to try and remove the selfie stick from snowboarding and other winter sports type shots. It'll be really interesting to see how the technology develops on that one. They're obviously taking aim at some of this functionality that the 360 cameras have, because it is such a powerful function to be able to just hold the camera out and get rid of the selfie stick. The final piece of the puzzle here is the price. The Insta360 X3 costs $449, the DJI Action 3 $329. We can't tell you what camera to buy because we don't know what you're going to use it for, and we don't know what your priorities are. For some people, the top drawer picture quality of the DJI Action 3 will be the main consideration, whereas for others, the versatility and variety that is offered by the Insta360 X3 will be far more appealing. For us as consumers, this vigorous competition between GoPro, DJI and Insta360 is fantastic. They're forcing each other to innovate and create and bring us better products as a consequence. So it's a great time to be in the market for a new camera. Let us know in the comments below which one you think is best for your needs, and we will see you next time.